Hi, this is Trey Passer, and this is a video response to Swapmeetsearcher or Nick. He did a video a few days ago about movie recommendations. So I'm going to go through some of my collection and give you some movie recommendations for some titles that I have. Okay, so this is sort of like, when I did my breakdown of my collection a few months ago, but except this will just be, I'm just going to do some of the titles, not all of them, or else this video will last forever. Okay, and this is not all of my collection. I'm just going to go through some of the Blu-rays and some of the DVDs real quick and give you just little quick recommendations, some titles that I have. Okay, so let's do it. Okay, this first one is RoboCop. Okay, RoboCop. Let's see if you can see that. RoboCop, a fantastic movie. Peter Weller, um, Ronnie Cox, Miguel Ferrer. Just a fantastic movie about a cop that gets blown away and gets rebuilt as a RoboCop in the future in the city of Detroit, where the corporation takes over the cops. And it's just a fantastic movie. The violence, the satire. Who could forget that classic line? I'll pay that. I'll buy that for $1. Fantastic movie, definitely. And they're remaking this movie, which I don't think they need to do, but I'll check out the remake just to see how it is. This next movie is, well, it's not a movie, it's more of a documentary, Planet Earth on Blu-ray. I first saw this on Discovery Channel, and this is a breakdown of all these different, like they show like the wildlife, the frozen, the Arctic, just all these different landscapes for the planet Earth. And I don't know why they said it. It's a 4-disc set, and they went all over the world, and it took years to do this, to complete it. And this is narrated by David Attenborough. And it's just a fantastic series, definitely worth getting. It looks fantastic on Blu-ray. And like I said, they go over the whole planet, from the Arctic to all the way to the jungles in Brazil, just all over the planet. And it's a fantastic movie, totally worth seeing. There you go. I'm going to focus that so people don't get dizzy. And this next movie is Sucker Punch, a fantastic movie, just by one of my favorite directors, Zack Snyder. It's just a fantastic movie about a girl who is being abused, and she accidentally kills her sister, and she gets sent to a mental asylum, and from there she escapes into a fantasy world to survive. It's just a fantastic movie by Zack Snyder, and just the visuals for this movie are just absolutely off the charts. Totally worth getting. This next movie is 10 Things I Hate About You, which is a teen interpretation of the Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew, starring Julia Stiles and the late Heath Ledger. Just a fantastic movie. There's the back. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in this. David, what's his name? David Cormutz, the guy from Numbers. Just a fantastic movie. Like I said, it's a reinterpretation of Shakespeare Taming of the Shrew about a strong-willed girl. Anyway, the next movie on my selection, of course, is a classic, Gladiator, the Russell Crowe, which he won the Academy Award for. Best Picture, just a film by Ridley Scott. Fantastic performance by Russell Crowe in this. It's one of my favorite movies. There's the back. Joaquin Phoenix is in this also. It's just a fantastic movie. Totally worth seeing, which most people have probably seen. Now, this next movie is the second interpretation of the Punisher movie. This is called Punisher Warzone. This movie is just, for sheer mindless violence, this movie is it. This movie is just beyond fantastic. I love the violence. It's Ray Stevenson, that's his name. I believe his name, Ray Stevenson, right? Yeah, Ray Stevenson plays the Punisher, Frank Castle, in this. And I got to tell you, I think towards the end of the movie, I think he had to kill at least 100 people in this house he went to at the end of the movie. If you want just mindless violence, the story is irrelevant. It's just the violence in this movie. It's just totally worth getting just for that. Okay, and this next movie is a comedy classic, Blazing Saddles by Mel Brooks. This movie is actually written also by Richard Pryor and stars Cleveland Little, Gene Wilder, Dom DeLuise, Slim Pickens. Just a comedy classic. All the great things that happen in this movie. Mongo, there's the back there. You can see the back there. And Mel Brooks is in it himself. It's if you want a pure comedy, this is the movie to see. This movie will have you cracking up laughing. Okay, and another very underrated movie, uh, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, starring Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer. This is probably, I think, one of the movies that Robert Downey Jr. made. I don't know if this was after or before he got out of jail. I think might have been after he got out of jail. I'm not sure. But on the road to his comeback, to being a big star again. And this movie is very underrated. Basically about an actor who shadows a private eye to learn how to get to be a private eye for a movie role, which turns into a real life case. And it's just a fantastic movie. And what's her name? Michelle Monaghan is in it also. It's just a fantastic movie, and the chemistry between Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer in this movie is fantastic. Totally worth getting. Very underrated movie. And then we have the classic Western, and I love Westerns. Once Upon a Time in the West, starring Henry Fonda, Charles Bronson, Jason Robards. This is a movie where Henry Fonda, who always used to play good guys, plays a bad guy, played the baddest of bad guys. And it's just a fantastic movie. This movie, I think, is over, I'm trying to think, over 166 minutes, which is like 2 hours and like 46 minutes. But there's no boring part of this movie. And it's just a fantastic. And Charles Bronson doesn't say much in this movie, but he has great presence in this movie. Fantastic movie, totally worth getting. And next movie is Collateral, okay, starring Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx. Tom Cruise plays a hitman who comes to town to kill somebody, and he drafts Jamie Foxx, who plays a cab driver, to be sort of a patsy for him in this movie, and it's just fantastic. Tom Cruise is a total beast in this movie as a hitman, as a crazed hitman. He's just absolutely fantastic. He can play a great villain, Tom Cruise. Okay, next movie is Angel Heart, starring Robert De Niro, Mickey Rourke, Lisa Bonet. Robert De Niro plays a guy who hires Mickey Rourke's character to find a gentleman for him, and this movie takes place in Louisiana, and this movie has a little mix of supernatural. You got murder, you have sex. This movie, Robert De Niro is perfectly chilling in this movie, and I don't want to say any more about it because if I describe it a little bit more, you'll know what his character, because Robert De Niro plays a very famous character in this movie. Okay, and the twist at the end is just fantastic. Okay, now next movie is Darkman by Sam Raimi, just starring Liam Neeson, Frances McDormand, and this basically is a story about a scientist who's working on this experiment to heal people from fatal injuries. He gets attacked. His girlfriend's like, she works for this shady businessman, and he thinks she has some information that could prove fatal to him. So he basically thinks the boyfriend has it. So he sends thugs over to the boyfriend's labs and basically blows him up, and leaves him severely injured, where he can't feel anything at all. And he uses that experiment that he was working on to become Darkman, where he can actually physically change his appearance for limited periods of time, and he sets about getting revenge against the people that did him wrong. And that's Liam Neeson is great in this Darkman, and they also did 2 sequels to this, which were actually pretty good. Liam Neeson is not in the sequels, but the sequels are pretty decent too. Okay, and now the next movie is Forbidden Planet. This is a 1950 movie starring Walter Pridgeon, Anne Francis, and a young Leslie Nielsen. This movie is fantastic about a group of explorers that they go to a planet, Forbidden Planet, and they actually discover the scientist who's living with his daughter on this planet, and Robbie Robarts in this, and it's a great movie. I think this is based on Shakespeare's play The Tempest, but this is a great science fiction movie from the 50s. Fantastic. And Anne Francis is absolutely gorgeous. Leslie Nielsen is appropriately heroic, and Walter Pidgeon plays the scientist who's in charge of the planet. And if I tell you a little bit more, it kind of would ruin the main plot of this movie, but it's a fantastic movie, definitely worth getting. Okay, I love the 1950s movies, especially the sci-fi ones. Okay, and next movie is The Other, starring Nicole Kidman. She plays a mother who's living in an isolated in a castle, not a castle. She's living in a mansion with her two young children while her husband's away at war. I think it's supposed to be like World War One, or her husband's at World War One, and about these mystery. It seems like the house is haunted and stuff. And there's a great twist in this movie that comes like towards the end of the movie, which is absolutely fantastic. Okay, and Nicole Kidman is absolutely perfect in this movie. Okay, and another movie, one of my favorites, a Western from the 50s, The Big Country, starring Gregory Peck, Gene Simmons, Carol Baker, Charlton Heston, Burl Ives. It's basically a movie about a city guy played by Gregory Peck who's gets engaged to Carol Baker, whose father runs a ranch out in the Midwest, and he goes, to meet her family and stuff, and he gets involved in a dispute between her father and Burl Ives' character. They're playing like warring ranchers and stuff, and he gets thrust in the middle of it. And of course, it's a fantastic movie. It has a great cast. Like I said, Gene Simmons, Carol Baker, Charlton Heston, Burl Ives, and I also believe Chuck Connor's in this also. It's a fantastic Western. Okay, definitely worth seeing. See, there's the back. Charlton Heston there, Gene Simmons and Gregory Peck, Carol Baker. Definitely worth seeing. Okay, and of course, Mean Girls, back when Lindsay Lohan had her stuff back together. Fantastic movie, written by Tina Fey, and just a fantastic movie. Rachel McAdams is in this. Also, what's her name? Tim Meadows, that's right, he's in it. It's just a fantastic movie about high school girls' popularity and everything else. It's a fantastic movie. Great movie, actually. And American Psycho, starring Christian Bale. I read the book. I had the book somewhere around here, but I have the book. Trust me, this movie's fantastic, but the book is a lot sicker than the movie, if you could believe that. Okay, they had to kind of tone it down, but Christian Bale is fantastic as a deranged businessman who's going around killing his friends and stuff. And trust me, the movie is not as sick as the book, because the book was just beyond sick. Okay, and let's see. Next one is Man on Fire, one of my favorite movies by Denzel Washington. Okay, about a burnt out agent who goes down to Mexico and gets a job guarding a young girl played by Dakota Fanning. And of course, she gets kidnapped, and she basically awakens in him the spirit to live again. And once she gets kidnapped, he unleashes a hell on the people who kidnapped her. So it's a fantastic movie. Denzel Washington is a total badass in this. Okay, and Christopher Walken also stars in this. Great movie. And let's see what else do we have. Okay, oh yeah, Blade, perfect comic book movie. Blade, which is a fantastic character, starring Wesley Snipes. This is the first Blade movie. Definitely just total Blade about a half human, half vampire who totally hates vampires. He goes around killing them. He needs a serum to survive, to get rid of the bloodlust. And to quote somebody in the movie, he has all of the strengths of the vampires and none of their weaknesses. Okay, and there's a great sequence in the beginning of this movie of him in a nightclub, which is absolutely fantastic. Wesley Snipes was just born to play Blade. A great movie. Okay, next movie is Law Abiding Citizen, starring Gerard Butler and Jamie Foxx. Just a fantastic movie about a guy whose family, his wife and daughter, are killed and raped and murdered, and one guy testifies against another guy, and the one guy gets the electric chair and the other guy gets off, and Gerard Butler just basically goes against the system and just starts killing people left and right, and he's absolutely fantastic. There's a great part in the movie where Jamie Foxx goes to him after he's blown up I think he kills a bunch of district attorneys, and Jamie Foxx tells him to call this off, and he says, "I'm just getting warmed up." It's just fantastic. Gerard Butler was just fantastic in the movie. I love the cat and mouse game between him and Jamie Foxx in this movie. Okay, let's see. Okay, another one of my favorite movies, Faster, starring Dwayne Johnson and Billy Bob Thornton. Basically about a guy who gets out of prison and starts and seeks revenge against the people that killed his brother and set him up. It's just The Rock is just absolutely relentless, and it's a great title saying Faster, because from the minute he gets out of jail, he's just on a relentless quest to get revenge and he's just absolutely fantastic. And there's the back. This part, he was absolutely perfect for this part. Didn't have to say much, but he was just a pure man of action. Okay, and then of course the Pot Smoker Heaven Friday, starring Ice Cube and Chris Tucker. Just absolutely fantastic movie about a bunch of stoners that all they do basically is smoke all day and hang out. It's just a great comedy, one of the greatest comedies ever made. And Chris Tucker, he's at his best making this movie. Let's see. Uh, okay, The Book of Eli, which I absolutely love, starring Denzel Washington, Gary Oldman, Mila Kunis. I think also Jennifer Beals is in this. Yeah, and this is basically about a guy named Eli who's like a weary traveler who's traveling from place to place, and it's supposed to be taking place in the future, this post-apocalyptic future, and he's a total badass. Denzel Washington. There's a scene in the bar, in like midway point through this movie, where he absolutely kicks total ass. He actually, I call him Batman. Actually, there's about three scenes. There's a scene in the beginning of the movie under a bridge where he just absolutely destroys six guys, and then there's a scene in the bar like midway through where he basically takes on a whole bar, and that scene is worth the price of admission alone. Denzel Washington's just a total badass, and there's a twist in this movie that a lot of people didn't like, but the twist didn't bother me. It's just a fantastic movie, definitely worth getting. Okay, and another one of my favorite movies, The Highlander, starring Christopher Lambert and Sean Connery. Basically, the story is about a guy who's born eons ago, I'd say in the early century, and he's Scotland, and discovers, of course, that he cannot die, that he's immortal. He's a Highlander, and he's destined to fight other Highlanders until there's only one left. And Sean Connery plays a fellow Highlander who basically teaches him how to live and stuff and how to hide. And it's just a fantastic movie. Okay, and it takes place, like I said, in the early century, and then he's in the modern times too. They show flashbacks to when he was younger. It's just a fantastic movie, totally worth getting. A great soundtrack by Queens too. Okay, Heathers, a great movie starring Winona Ryder, Christian Slater. Christian Slater does his best Jack Nicholson impersonation, basically about cliques in high school, and it's a black comedy because it gets sort of dark in certain places. But this is a fantastic movie. Christian Slater has never been better than this, and Winona Ryder, they have great chemistry together, and it's just a fantastic movie about high school and the cliques and everything, and it has violence in it, and it's just absolutely fantastic. Totally worth getting. Okay. Okay, let's see. Another one of my movies that I love, Hellboy, starring Ron Perlman, Selma Blair, and this is basically the story about a demon. I think that was conjured up by the Nazis during World War II, but before the Nazis could actually, activate him or whatever else they was going to do with him, the Allies, stopped them, and they actually recruited this secret government agent, recruited him to help fight all the different weird things that happen in the world. So he actually works for a secret agency, Hellboy, and Ron Perlman is just absolutely fantastic in this. This movie and the second one are just fantastic, and I hope they make a third one. I think they are, but it's just a fantastic movie. And Selma Blair plays his girlfriend right there. She has the power to control fire. It's a fantastic movie. Okay, and let's see. Since this movie is I'm just going to do a few more titles and get this over with. Okay, Deja Vu, a great movie. Basically, Denzel Washington plays a cop who's investigating this explosion on a not a cruise ship. I guess not a cruise ship, but like I'm trying to think, a ferry that explodes. And during the course of his investigation, he discovers that a girl, he discovers this girl died, and he gets involved with the feds, and actually this involves time travel. And I know that's a lot of genres to mix in sci-fi with an action comedy, well, not a comedy, excuse me, with an action sci-fi thriller, and it's actually a pretty good movie. Jim Caviezel also stars in this. Val Kilmer, like I said, Denzel Washington, and also what's her name? Paula Patton. She plays the girl that he becomes obsessed with, and it's just a fantastic, very underrated movie. Deja Vu, one of my favorites. Definitely worth getting. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's next. Okay, Into the Wild. Okay, this is a movie that I got recommended to me by, I believe it was Nick who recommended this movie to me. Told me, but basically about a guy that who grows up. He gives up all his material things after he graduates from college, and he goes basically to live in the live off the land. Basically, he gives all his material possessions, and he basically lives off the land. And it's a great character study about a guy that just gives up everything just to live honestly. And it's a fantastic movie, a lot better than I thought it would be. Okay, and I didn't know it was based on a true story. There was actual person that actually did this, which kind of and it's a good, definitely worth getting. This is directed by Sean Penn, definitely worth getting. Okay, and speaking of Sean Penn, this is a movie that he did. We forget how great an actor he is. In his early movies, Sean Penn was just absolutely fantastic. This played Bad Boys. He plays this young punk that gets involved and gets arrested, and he accidentally kills. I think he actually kills a kid and gets sent to prison. And this is basically the struggle of his existence in prison and stuff. And he has a girl back home and stuff, and the people he deals with. Sean Penn is absolutely fantastic in this movie. There's the back. Okay, and also, what's her name? As in this, Ali Sheedy. She plays his girlfriend. Okay, definitely worth getting. Bad Boys, very underrated movie. Okay, and another. I'll just wrap this up with these couple of movies. Stir of Echoes, starring Kevin Bacon. He plays a regular guy who gets hypnotized by his sister-in-law, and he starts having these visions of a murdered girl. It's driving him crazy, and it's a fantastic movie, a chilling movie. He has, like I said, all these visions. He starts getting these visions of this murdered girl and stuff, and basically he can't stop until he solves the mystery. And it's a fantastic movie, very underrated. Stir of Echoes. I got to get this on Blu-ray. Okay, and let's see. The Five Heartbeats, directed by Robert Townsend. A fantastic movie. Great soundtrack. Basically, this is supposed to be based on the musical group The Dells. Basically about this five-man group growing up, and they also have they have their issues. The lead singer gets addicted to drugs. The brothers, these two brothers fall in love with the same girl. Uh, the racism they have to deal with. It's a very underrated, great soundtrack and great performances by the five actors in this movie. Very definitely worth getting. There's the back. The Five Heartbeats. I love this movie. Very underrated. By Robert Townsend, who's a great director. Okay, and Inglourious Basterds by Quentin Tarantino. I think this is probably his favorite movie that he's done. He does a lot of great movies, but I think this movie is actually is probably his greatest, at least to me. Starring Brad Pitt, of course. Um, Eli Roth is in this. Diana Kruger, Christopher White, who won, yeah, that's his name, right? Christopher White. He won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor in this. And basically, this story is about Nazis and Hitler as spies, and it's just a fantastic movie. Young Michael Fassbender's in this. It's just a fantastic movie. Totally worth seeing. I know most people have seen this already. Totally a great movie by uh, Quentin Tarantino. And last but not least, 500 Days of Summer. Just a fantastic movie starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Zoe Deschanel. That's how I think you pronounce her name. Basically about a young couple in love, about a guy who meets a young, quirky young girl, and basically their romance. That's what it says, 500 Days of Summer. Okay, and just a fantastic movie. It has people start breaking into song. It's just Joseph Gordon-Levitt and, like I say, Zoe. They have great chemistry in this movie, and it's just a fantastic movie. Like I said, it says on the back here, an irresistible feel-good movie, and it totally is just about their romance, and it's a fantastic, good date movie, good movie to see with someone you love. So it's a great movie, definitely worth seeing. So put that back, and I'm gonna say that's it for me for my recommendations. This video is going almost 25 minutes, which I didn't want to do, but there it is. Just so I just wanted to do a video response to Nick Swapmeetsearcher. I'll leave a link to down to his channel below. You can check out his video, the original video that he shot. Okay, I didn't want to go through all of my titles because I've been here forever, but I just wanted to let you know what I give you a few recommendations of movies that I like really a lot. So this is Trade Passion, and let me know what you think of my choices. And let me see a few more things before I fade to black. Okay, let me leave you with a. Let's see. Let's go back and say I love peanut butter sandwiches and is it? Goodbye.